everybody, Scott back with you with Infinite Freedom. I haven't done a video in a while, and I'm going to talk about the reasons why that happened, and it all goes on with what's up here. A lot of things going on. We could say there were issues with video editors and all that. In fact, I have a video that I did in a weird Super 8 format. I am going to post that one. It's about a book. But today, because of the length of time that it went by without me doing a video, I want to talk about the number 3. I want to talk about things go in threes. Since the history of time, things have gone in threes. If you look, we'll just start now. Everyone says that deaths of movie stars and that, famous people, always in threes. There's 3 strikes in baseball. I'm going to bring up football here. I'm going to say, yeah, but there's 4 quarters and there's 4 downs. There's 3 downs really, and then there's the one where they go, we're not moving this ball anywhere, so we better kick it out of here. So there's 3 there. In comedy, it's always a rule of 3. It's always been a rule of 3. I was in a stage show for a long time. If you go back to Looney Tunes, vaudeville, anything in comedy has to do with rules of 3. For instance, someone will throw the dynamite in the bucket and it comes back out. You throw it in again, it comes back out. You throw it in again, it comes back out, it blows up. Always rules of 3. It always seems to work. It's something about our psyche. It's something about what we do that causes us to always do everything in threes. This goes way back to the very beginning. Let's go in the Bible, for instance. Even if you're not religious, it's an old document. We've got that there were 3 wise men. 3 gifts by the wise men. It was 3. When Jesus died, he rose on the 3rd day. There's the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. When I sing I sing a lot of songs, and you'll notice that at the end they'll do a repeat of 3. A lot of times they'll have the verse, chorus, another verse, chorus, guitar solo, and then another chorus. 3. Everything seems to be built up on 3s. What I have discovered in myself and other people, and mostly myself, and that's why I'm talking about this today, so we can figure out why something happens, is when you're doing something. Recently, the issue has been in finding the right video editor for these videos here. Then I had some issues come up with work and family and all that, and I've noticed that the 3 applies to your enthusiasm. If you start to do a video on YouTube, like I did, and you end up, I need a video editor, and you find one, and you go, it's not working. So you find another one, it's not really working. And you get something else, it's not really working. At that 3rd point, you tend to just kind of drop it. That's the thing we need to recognize about our behavior. It always seems to be on that 3rd attempt at something, and if you look at yourself, you'll notice this. You'll go on a date with someone, and it went okay. You go on another one, it's okay. You go on another one, and then there'll be a time frame after that where you won't go out with someone for a while. It's the 3s. We're built around that number. So, recognizing that, we should be able to overcome that. Because all we have to do is make sure that we don't go from the point of starting to that 3rd letdown and then letting it fizzle away. And it's not a give up, and it's not a quit, and it's not like with the death of movie stars. I've always noticed there'll be a death of one, and then another one, everybody goes, see, they always go in 3. And then there's another one like a week later, and then there'll be 2 more, and they go, see, it's always in 3s. It's not always that way. It's our perception of it. So it's the perception of when unconsciously what we do is we do something, it doesn't work, we do it again, it doesn't work, we do it that 3rd time, it doesn't work, and we tend to just kind of drift on the next attempt. So, first of all, look at your own life and see this. Now recognize it, like I said, now it can be fixed. It's knowing that you are unconsciously letting your enthusiasm or your drive or your work towards something kind of go at that 3rd attempt, and recognizing that we need to not do that. We need to make sure that we're kind of keeping our enthusiasm, and we're recognizing that that 3rd one is not the end all. Doesn't mean you won't come back. It means you kind of drift, like what I did. I was doing video editing. I was working with different formats. I used the iPhone a couple times. I did one. It was okay. I did another one. It didn't work too good. And the video editor I was using crashed. It kept crashing before it would render the film. So, kind of went, well, I'll work on that later. Then I tried another attempt. And then you go, well, I guess I'll work on that later. And then you notice, if you look back, that's kind of where it ended. Threes. Always in threes. Patterns in our brain are built around three. It's three strikes in baseball. We tend to have the one, the second, and the third. Our brains are built that first one, yeah, okay, we gave it a shot. The second one, well, it didn't work out the way I planned, and we tend to do it again. At that point, our brains give up. How do we stop that? Well, here's how I'm doing it. How you choose to do it is your way, and email me and write me if you have different methods, or if you're having problems, or you can tell me about what's going on, kind of help you. But one is, keep it new, keep it fresh, and don't pile on. Let it happen and move on to the next. That's one way to do it. It's to continually be enthusiastic. But the one I'm going to do is, I was at lunch with someone yesterday, and she told me, we talked about speaking in the present tense. And one of them is that if we always look at a situation as you always win. That is my mantra from now on. I always win. I always win. I never lose, but I don't say I never lose because then my focus is on losing. But I just said that now to say that I don't have failures or losses. I always win. Always win. No matter what happens in my life today, I will walk away from it and say, I always win. Now, how that works with the threes is I don't have this happened, downfall, 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 because every time I'm going to consciously, because that's an unconscious behavior, is to do it once, twice, third, drift away. Consciously, I'm going to, when one thing happens, I'm going to look at it as, how was that a win? Because I always win. So how was that a win? Next one, moving from, if you do that from the first one, you won't have the second and third. If you go to the second, do it from the second one. If you do it from the third, that's fine too. What you don't want to do is have yourself unconsciously drifting onto something else. And that's usually how it works. You'll drift on to something else. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then all of a sudden, I got a different thing I'm working on. Or I'm reading a new book. I was reading this book and it didn't work, and I was trying to record this song and I couldn't get the bass line down right, and I tried and tried. So whatever happened to that song? Well, I started reading this book. Normal. First of all, recognize that's normal behavior, and that's going to happen. So don't get down on yourself. Remember, you always win. I always win. So when I was looking at the video editor and it didn't work or my thing crashed, hey, not the right editor. Guess what? The universe is telling me, get a different one. So I'm going to get a different one and I'm going to move on. So that's what we talked about today. Recognize the patterns in your life. And this is a pattern that we all have, is the pattern of threes. It always happens if you let it happen. And it's normal because if you just look at life, it's how we set up everything. 3 strikes, you're out. It's always, and it's, if you start looking at your own behavior, you'll see how we break that up. Look at what we do. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. We do it in threes. Keep looking throughout the day and you'll see patterns of 3. And if you see a pattern of 6, yeah, you're smart enough to figure that out. That's 2 patterns of 3. Anyway, so I'm Scott with Infinite Freedom. I'm glad I'm back. Subscribe, tell your friends. We're going to start all new things. I'm going to do all new stuff. And the next video I'm going to do is going to be really great. I'm going to talk about a concept that I've come up with that if you look at that, and it just takes a second to switch your perspective. If you look at this with your perspective, it will change your life. I promise you, it'll change your life. Anyway, Scott with Infinite Freedom. Glad to be back. Glad to be here. And I'll see you next time.